Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, excuse me, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today I'm going to talk to you about Married at First Sight Chicago, Season 18, Episode 6, Never Forget About Karla. So hopefully you got a chance to watch the episode that comes out now on Tuesdays and streaming on Wednesdays, I believe, and if not, you could catch the replay and then get caught up later or however you want to work it out. And thank you for watching the premiere of the video pre-recorded. And hello to everyone that's on the replay. And we'll go ahead and get started. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Thank you to my A1 Day ones. And those of you who came along after, don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we will officially get started now. Okay. So the couples are still in Cancun. It's the last night and evening of the honeymoon, going into next evening. So like a day and a half left. And before they go back home to the real world. And you know what? To me, this actually came off as a filler episode. I don't think a whole lot happened. I think maybe one couple had, maybe two, in my opinion, had, excuse me, a little bit of clarity. But the rest of the couples are just really flying by on the seat of the pants, if you ask me. So I'm going to start the episode talking about the couples in couple order. And then after I'm done with the couples, I'll talk about when they get together and different things like that. But we're going to go like Emem Ikechi, Karla Juan, things like that, versus show order, just so you know. Because like I said, to me, it was just a filler. So I don't think there was a whole lot of interaction with the rest of the couples this episode. Well, to start the scenes, we have David and Juan. They are having a good time. I consider this the bromance of the season so far. They said they were out at the gym, at the beach, just having a good time. And hey, we're here to enjoy our time in Cancun, because I think Juan is more into having a time besides Karla, because Karla, to me, with Juan, she could be a little too much, even though he's not saying it right now, but it's definitely given that. And also based on the comments he gave to her, and I'll let you know in just a moment. So we'll get started with Emem Ikechi. So they have breakfast and they always engage in, which is not a bad thing, and talk about life, different types of small talk in general. And I do think in the honeymoon, you should touch on the basics to start, like, did you want kids? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you do for work? Things like that. And then when you get home to the real world, then those conversations start to ramp up. And again, it's telltale for me. Once you're on the honeymoon with Married at First Sight, it just lets you know who may or may not make it. Maybe that's just for me. You may feel differently, but it's telltale. So they talk about having kids. Well, mainly the conversation is driven by Ikechi or Ike about having kids and the reasons for a breakup and have you ever been in love? Just a whole bunch of different things he's thrown out to her. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but to me, as we have seen them interact, it's a whole lot right now, in my opinion. But she's not, afraid to answer the questions. So Ikechi said that he wants kids. He's like, do you? And there was like a long hesitated pause. She's like, yeah, I do. I think I will be a good mom one day. So then Ikechi said, well, maybe I should have asked you if you wanted kids before he goes in his details, because he said he had broken up with previous partners because they weren't on the same page. They weren't aligned with having kids. And so now that, they get that out the way, then he asked, have you ever been in love? And she said that she's been in love before with her ex-fiance. And, when that relationship broke up, it was hard for her to handle that breakup and didn't think that love for her was out there on the horizon. And so Ikechi said something similar. He said, yes, he's been in love also with his ex. And mainly it is your ex, right? Because you're on the show. But he felt that as time has gone on, that he would never, ever find love again. So to me, it's him saying that he never thought he would be complete again. But isn't this the same man that applied for Married at First Sight twice? Okay. You didn't make it for whatever season it was the first time you applied. So was that in between that breakup with your ex then? And then for you to be on the show now, to be accepted for the show. So you just, just throw whatever you have in a bucket, give the experts find me a wife so maybe I can fall in love again. To me, that doesn't make sense. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Let me know in the comments. So later on, we see them having lunch or dinner, whatever they're doing. They don't really have a whole lot of activities going on. Like I said, it's the last night into the evening to the day where they're going to leave to come back to Chicago. And so, I mean, as far as communication goes, I guess they have the best vibes amongst the couples. Yeah, because even Thomas and Camille, but I'll get to that. But at the same time, the vibes in the conversation don't come across to me as genuine. I also don't see this couple as genuine. I just think that mainly on the Ikechi side, it's a go with the flow type thing. Maybe he's taking mental notes for his next project, his next poetry book, his next book he's writing, whatever he puts on social media. It's exactly what it's given to me. It just seems like it's an interview. That's the word. I've been trying to think what it was to me this entire time that I've been watching him. It's like he's interviewing her every single time. You may see it differently. Like I said, I don't know, but Ikechi needs to relax and pull back a little bit more. And again, since from last week when he called her the homie to his friends, that's why I'm saying it's not genuine. Because anytime a man, I know he's a stranger, but anytime a man puts you in the friend zone, even a woman, but he said it out loud to her and the group setting, everything else, it can't be genuine. So that's what I'm saying. This coming across as an interview for his next upcoming project. But back to them eating lunch or dinner, whatever. Emem says that she would like for Ikechi to try different foods because she's a foodie. She'll eat anything. And so she would like for him to be open to that. And even though he said he would try Ikechi, I don't know. I think that he's just saying what she wants to hear. And then they get into a conversation about Christmas and hosting dinner parties, things like that. So apparently, even though Ikechi claims he likes to eat and he likes to have friends over, things like that, I mean, it's not giving those vibes. But Eminem took the conversation over. She's like, yeah, I miss hosting. I miss doing this and that. And they're like, Jesus is the word and all this other stuff. And Jesus is the word. Christmas is everything. Yes. I don't know. I just don't like the vibes. I don't have a whole lot to say. They didn't give a whole lot this episode. But again, not feeling this couple. All right, let's move to Karla and Juan. So they start their day together with the dance and a dinner by the ocean. When they're done doing their little salsa, whatever they're trying to do, they sit down to talk. Juan says to Karla, hey, you know what? I had a really good day today. Now, mind you, they're on their honeymoon in Cancun. And I guess it's okay for, the other men and women to, say hello or whatever, but apparently Juan was gone all day until dinner time. And he's just telling Karla how much he had a great day. Didn't ask her what she did today, but him and David, I mean, that's my bro. That's my man. We kicked it, right? And so Juan even went on to say that he even forgot that he was here with Karla. And the look on Karla's face was like, excuse you? Because I would have been the same way. Okay. And it was not just excuse you, it was kind of like a hurt thing. And then Juan didn't seem to notice that he really did anything wrong. Because he goes in to say I don't understand why this would upset you and bother you so much. But then he also says, well, how can you help me figure out what we need in this marriage to help make us a better couple? I'm like, well, first of all, you have to keep me in mind. What are you talking about? You forgot about me. So that just set the tone for the rest of the day, the evening, even rolling into later scenes when they talk about coming home to Chicago and the living arrangements. So next thing you know, we see Karla. It's the next day, or like, yeah, it's the next day. They're going swimming at the pool, and she's like in confessional, but she's walking behind Juan in confessional at the hotel saying, yeah, I'm still expecting an apology and seeing how he can make things up to me for saying he forgot about Karla. She's like, you don't never forget about me. Okay. She's like, where they do that at? And so she's like, yeah, so we're going to the pool today. And normally I will pack our stuff. But you see, he's carrying a plastic bag with stuff. So since he don't know about me, he don't know about a pool bag. Okay. You with me? You have a pool bag packed forever. And I was like, girl, I mean, the pool bag's not that serious. Going to the pool with your stuff in a plastic bag, I guess. But if Juan hadn't apologized from the dinner and then the very next day outing wanted me to have us to have a nice day at the pool, I would be a little salty too. I mean, what are we here for? You know what I'm saying? We're here to get to know each other on our honeymoon. Well, after the pool, we didn't really see them swim at the pool. It was for a photo shoot that Karla had previously set up. And at the photo shoot, I mean, they showed some pictures of the beginning when they, were starting to pose. I mean, the look on Karla's face was real sour, real salty. She didn't want to be there. But as the day went along, she loosened up, and they had some really, really nice pictures. But I just thought it was funny when Karla was like, you gonna learn today. I said, ooh, okay. So like I said, after the photo shoot, Karla warmed up and she was feeling a little bit better. Juan was just going about his day to day. All right. So let's move to Madison and Allen. Okay, listen, Madison is just another mean girl, in my opinion, self-centered, just like Michelle on here for this season. So anyways, Madison and Allen are out in the, I don't want to call it the forest or the woods, but in Cancun, there's places you can go where, I guess it looks like a forest, where the ancient Mayan culture in Mexico used to be. That's where it was many, many, many years ago. I believe it was either AD or BC, 1500 BC, AD, something like that. That's where they used to incorporate, inhabit, all that stuff. So Allen is tapping into his, into his heart, his mind, and soul. He wants to be one with the land. So they go back to get cleansed by a native of the area and to get centered. And I really think that Allen did that for himself, not just to be part of the culture, but just to get centered and maybe have Madison do something else instead of like looking in the mirror all the time. Because Madison later in the episode talks about how she always wants to look good at all given points in time. But girl, again, I'm going to say it another time. You're on your honeymoon. Who else are you looking good for? We already know you're not attracted to Allen. So, I mean, make that make sense. Well, when they're doing the cleansing ceremony and try to get one with the land, I don't even know the name of it, but the person hosting the ceremony, she has them sit on the ground. She gives them water to cleanse, and then she has them put their hands over each other's heart to feel each other's energy. In confessional, Madison says, I don't like to be all touchy like this already. It's a ceremony. Okay, just participate and go with the flow. Why is this always about you? You know what I'm saying? At least for me, that's how I was getting from it. Allen is absorbing the culture and what's going on. So after the ceremony, the person hosting it, the native lady hosting it, is giving the energy. She's saying how she feels like how Allen tends to have things bottled up. He tends to have, go from having thoughts just in his head and not getting them out, which is causing him extra stress. She goes, release that energy, make you feel better. And then when she get to Madison, she was pretty much telling her like, you have things bottled up, really like reading her down, like, you're not as open as you seem to be, maybe you need to work on that too. She's like, yeah, you're right. I feel that way too. Miss me with that nonsense, Madison. Okay, this season is going to be really interesting to watch with Madison and Michelle, the two front runner mean girls. It's a lot. It's draining. # team too much. Okay, I'm over the double mint twins. Let's move to Camille and Thomas. So they start the day with them taking a salsa lesson, and Thomas doesn't want Camille to think like he's a goof, so he goes on to the lesson and hoping like he could like pick up the dance move, stuff like that. And again, in my opinion, Thomas needs a boost in his self-esteem, his self in general, right? So anyway, he's out there trying to learn to dance with his wife. Now Camille, she's like, okay, yeah, I got it. She's into dancing and all that stuff. She's got the rhythm. Now I'm giving Thomas an A for effort because listen, everyone isn't a dancer. Everyone don't have rhythm, but Thomas is stepping all over the place. I bet you Thomas, with his no rhythm self, dances the same way he claps, all off the beat. Some people can't even clap on the beat. Yeah, I bet you that's Thomas too. I put $1 on it. Who's with me? All right. Anyways, so after that, we see Camille in confessional saying that she's used to dating and being with guys who are a little bit more suburban than Thomas. But even though she likes Thomas, she would like for him to have a little bit more swag, have a little bit more R&B feel. Now, listen, Camille is telling us that she's used to someone with a little bit more swag, R&B feel, a little bit more urban, suburban. Okay, not suburban, more urban. That automatically in my mind had me thinking of, and this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, the song by Trick Daddy. 'Cause baby, I'm a thug. Hey. Oh yeah, 'cause I'm a thug. That's what she want. Girl. Wrong show. And anyways, so I think that Thomas feels that maybe he might not be enough for Camille. And on top of that, like I said, he already has that self-esteem issue anyway. So, he's picked up on that. Now, when we see him in his confessional, because Camille did tell Thomas this about a little bit more swag. And to me, she really should have kept that to herself because you're on the show. So what you thought you was going to get, this is what you got right now. I can see Thomas as a good, natured, clean-cut guy, wants to, since he has a wife now, put her on a pedestal, she's his queen, stuff like that. And in his confessional, he was saying that, they have different lifestyles. They grew up different. Yes. He said that even though, he wasn't growing up in a neighborhood where he was part of the Black culture because he happens to be biracial. And he's even heard that, he didn't have enough swag through previous relationships, that he's going to work on it. And made him sad a little bit, made him, turn inner. And I'm just like, don't let that bother you now. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that bother you. You've been matched for a reason. And their connection really seems genuine. So I really hope they can get past that hurdle. All right. David and Michelle. So Michelle said she's trying to enjoy the last of her day in Cancun. Want to put things behind her because she said she's been making things hard. Hello. You've been making it hard. David's been telling you, who the ladies have been telling you, whoever you called on the phone been telling you, you've been making it hard. You might as well enjoy your last days instead of being pent up in your tortoise shell in the room with the shades closed, with a drawn up face, not doing nothing. When the group, whether they're together as a couple or not, just trying to have as much fun as they can. So anyways, her and David end up going to paddleboard. They also end up making sushi later on the day. And they even have like little conversation where really David's the one that drives the conversation every week. He's the one putting most of the effort. And he's talking about making a compromise in the marriage, which he always does, and just trying to help her be more comfortable. And, they both agree that marriage is a work in progress. Even though Michelle knows this, I just don't think she wants to be a work in progress with David. Now, let me jump a little bit to that sushi scene. When they were making sushi with the chef, David said he's never had any, but he was willing to try. And to me, he's been jumping through hoops for Michelle. And on top of that, I think David's a foodie. And the foodies, David needs to have maybe they could have a friend little thing with Ikechi. Emem, because she's a foodie too, right? So Michelle made this comment like, oh, well, bless his heart. I know he's probably not used to eating stuff like this. This out of his comfort zone. He seems like he's a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I mean, David is a big guy. He's into weightlifting and in the gym, things like that. So he's got to eat more than sushi. So meat and potatoes isn't far off. But I think she was kind of being a little bit sarcastic when she was saying that. Now, while they were sitting down eating the food, stuff like that, David was like, this is pretty good. But then they got into conversations about the background of the family. David asked, is your grandma alive? Like, is your grandmother's here? Any of your grandmothers here? So David's great grandmother and grandmother is still alive. And Michelle said that hers had passed on. But then Michelle also mentioned that she remembers when she was growing up that she had a really close relationship with her grandmother, who happened to live next door. And it became like one big family. Like they would always be over there. Grandma would be over at her house with her family and, maybe the cousins, things like that. And I'm like, Michelle, that's almost like living with the family and interacting that way as one big family, whether you live next door or live in the basement or upstairs. That's almost the same as David's dynamic. So I don't understand what the issue is. So she should be able to understand what's going on. I think what's tripping Michelle up is David, not just because he lives there and not somewhere else right now, is that the age that he's there. Again, David's not a bum, right? He has 2 jobs. He's doing what he should be doing. All right. Now, before the couples catch the flight back home, they talk about living in the real world and what they are enjoying about their marriage. So all the couples meet up, and it's really like a thankful, like, oh, what are you thankful for about the marriage and what the experts have done so far and about your couple and couples together. So Camille leads things off. She said, well, everything takes a conscious effort, and she is ready to be present in the moment, and she is enjoying the moment together. She said she's had intimate relations in the past that didn't work. So she is now rethinking and reevaluating how she is in relationships going forward, especially since she's in this marriage, because, as Thomas said in his confessional, or maybe he said it out loud, he was like, marriage is for real. It's not for play. Okay. And I thoroughly agree. And then Madison wanted to say that she doesn't want to change Alan, but is working towards a new lifestyle. But Alan says he disagrees because, listen, he's been judged in the past for who he was, for his outfits and maybe just his lifestyle. And he's now someone who likes who he is, and he makes a conscious effort into not judging other people for what they look like, what they do, and he's going to continue to be him. And I'm like, you keep telling her, Alan, because she has an issue with herself. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe she wants to be an IG model or something, because that's exactly how she's coming across. Like she's too good for you. And I really don't like that from this double mint twin or the other one. And then we have Juan, who tells the group that, he mentioned to Karla that he didn't want to forget about her, and he's going to put more effort in a relationship. And Juan knows that there's pressure in any relationship, and that it takes time and effort. And if you don't know someone, whether you are, or to get to know someone, if you're happy or if you're sad, marriages take work, relationships take work, and to be your authentic self, because otherwise, really you're giving your representative was the bottom line. And then someone mentioned about needing space, and some of the couples mentioned about their new routines that they were going to have and needing space, and the structure was going to give. And, even though they work different schedules, to make the effort to put more into working out for the sake of each other, the marriage, and in general. I just really think that they were saying the things, except for a few people, of what the group wanted to hear, because you can tell by the couples right now who is putting the effort and who isn't. All right. So then as the couples are packing up to leave to come back to Chicago, we find out that one of Alan's friends passes away suddenly, and Alan apologized to Madison for being pulled back and out of it and just really not being there for her in the last 24 hours. And Madison says, oh, I understand, and I'll always be there for you. Do y'all believe that? Do you? Because if she can complain about his outfits and how he looks and couldn't even do the hand over the heart, all right, we're just gonna let that ride. So anyways, then we see Michelle and David. He's talking to her about, so what do you think it's gonna look like when we move to the apartment? And, are we gonna stay in the same room? And Michelle's like, no, I'm not even comfortable really being around you now. So why would I be in the same room with you? We have to have separate rooms. And David is like questioning, well, why is that? I'm like, what you mean why? She hadn't been talking to you except for like maybe the last 15 minutes. You know why. Okay, that part made me mad. I'm like, stop questioning the girl why she don't want to be in the same room with you. Anyways, after all that, all the small talk, all the get together, all the whatever they was trying to do for this filler episodes, the couples actually make it back home to Chicago. They have a really nice apartment together, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Michelle's looking for the room that she wants, and she was like, oh, they're pretty much the same. And, and just everybody else was like, oh, this is nice. But then production shows us living room cam of Madison and Allen. It turns out that Madison, very shortly after they got back to Chicago, got dressed, put on her finest outfit, went out on the town. And Allen in confessional was like, I was really hoping that I would spend the first night home together in our new place with my wife, but instead she's out. And that was confessional cam 3 hours later. I'm like, she didn't waste any time. So that was the end of the episode. We did see previews of the upcoming episodes that we'll be seeing as the weeks to come. And it looks like Michelle is going to see David's basement apartment, and she says something to the fact like, this looks like a 16-year-old or something. Somebody young lives here and not a 36-year-old. She's really turned off. But she didn't have to go there to be turned off. She's turned off. And then she also confronts him about, oh, so you're sleeping with one of my best friends, things like that. So we'll have to see who the marriage swap is for. And then we see Camille and Thomas hit a rough patch. And then Ikechi confront Emem about something she said or something he didn't like. So we'll have to see as the episodes come along, but I'm ready to see who the actual wife swap is with, because let's get that over with to make this season juicy, because right now it's dry. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate, I'll be back next week. Again, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and leave me your comments. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.